That kind of alienates me, doesn't it? I can't have fun. In the corner, Lee. I will just grab that. Yes. Do you want me to run down to the office? Yeah. Okay, who's your agent? Just for my reference.
Profile Talent.
Thank you. Okay, you want to have a go?
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do and what we'll get used to is probably just doing the first take the way that you've done it. I want to see what you guys have prepared, want to see obviously what levels you're at, and then maybe discuss a bit about the scene, and then apply some changes accordingly. Okay.
I was going to walk into shot. Yeah. Where is the shot?
Right where you were.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm not in shot now. Cool.
All right. When you're ready.
Oh, so the guy down in the cells asked me if he could call his dad, and so
Which guy?
the shoplifter with the big hair. Who else?
Well, there's another bloke down there. I saw him this morning in the adjoining cell.
But he's about 70 years old.
So,
Well, he wouldn't be calling his dad because his dad would be dead, wouldn't he?
I don't know. Would he? I've got a great uncle who's 97.
Yeah, but you wouldn't call him to say you'd been arrested, would you?
No, he's dead, but I think you're missing the point.
Oh, sorry.
Priscilla?
Could you please not call me that?
What? Priscilla?
Yeah.
Isn't that your name?
Yeah, but it's kind of like my parents have this really weird sense of humour, and my friends at school used to call me Sandy. That was pretty cool. I kind of like that.
Probationary Constable Smith?
Yes?
Sir.
Yes, sir?
You know when you see cops on TV speaking in that really dull, plodding, precise kind of way?
Yes. Sir?
There's a reason for that. We need to rely on information with the exactitude and without ambiguity. So there can be no one misunderstanding in any given description of events. You with me?
I think so.
Good-o. You want to try your question again?
Okay. Could you please not call me Priscilla because I prefer Sandy?
Sorry.
You told me to ask the question again.
Not that question. The one about the shoplifter with the big hair.
I didn't ask a question about him. Did I?
Weren't you going to ask me something?
No, I was just going to tell you that the guy down in the cell wanted to call his dad, and I'd let him call his dad.
Right, okay.
Oh, and the elderly prisoner in the adjoining cell requested a male officer to accompany him to the lavatory because he needs to urinate.
Right.
But it's probably too late now.
Cut. Good. Really nice start, and you completely kind of get what's going on. You do it with a lovely charm. Let's just kind of apply a little bit of thought about the scene, and it doesn't mean that it will change it necessarily. But what's your perception of Priscilla and Nathan? Or what do you think is something that we would be looking for, or would be a necessary part of performance in the scene?
I almost see her as the kind of aloof, dark-haired girl who does all the forensics in NYP, not NYPD.
CSI.
Is it CSI? No, it's
Phones?
not. No. She's got all the tattoos and stuff, and what is it? NCIS. Yeah. So I kind of saw her as her. So really, just kind of aloof and not really getting it, and a bit awkward and not really figuring out what they're saying, but smart. So, but logical. But he's 70. So that's how I kind of saw her.
Yeah, and why?
And young.
What gives you that impression from the scene?
From the scene, just because it's very awkward, and then just not clicking and connecting and understanding what each other is saying. But obviously, her thought processes are there about, that it makes total sense to her, And for him, it makes total sense to him, but there's just no, they're just not meeting each other at all. But yeah, I don't know where I got the impression she was aloof. Probably because she forgot the whole time that the guy needed to urinate until the end.
Look, I think that that's a perfectly acceptable perception. Having kind of looked at the scene and looking at the dialogue, I think you could employ something else, and that's what I'd like to do in this take. Don't you think that when she comes in and says, you know, can you call me Sandy, and all that kind of stuff, and he responds by saying probationary Constable Smith, what do you think's going on there?
That he's trying, like a one-upmanship, he's trying to be intimidating or patronising. Or...
Well, look, let me give you a little bit of perspective. He is senior to her,
Yep.
so all he's trying to do is mark his territory, really.
Right.
And yet at the same time, I think that she does too. I think she's smart.
Okay.
And I think that she's competent, and I think that as a woman in the police force, and this being an early part of your career, I think that you want to go in and make an impression.
Yep.
So rather than make her a little bit more
Yep.
foppish and a little bit more unsure, I want you to make her actually quite confident.
Sure.
So that delivery is instead of kind of going, oh, my parents kind of call me Sandy, and throwing it away, I want you to say, I want you to call me Sandy, my parents call me Sandy, and then he says probationary. So make it a much more interesting political dynamic, make it a much more combative type of scene.
Yep.
I think this happens a lot with cop type of stuff.
For sure.
You've got to try and, you know, give us the impression that she can hold her own in this situation.
Sure.
Now, if there's a bit of naivety within that, that's absolutely fine.
Yep.
She's young, she's just new to this situation, so the procedural stuff might be something that is foreign to her. So she's coming at it from quite a fresh, personal, she just wants to make friends with him, he's coming at it from a much more bureaucratic. Now, she may not know that.
Yep.
So that's where a bit of naivety can come in, but I think that she does it still with a sense of command and a sense of control.
Yep.
All right, okay. When you're ready.
Oh, so the guy down in the cells asked me if he could call his dad, so I...
Which guy?
The shoplifter with the big hair. Who else?
Well, there's another bloke down there. I saw him this morning in the adjoining cell.
But he's about 70 years old.
So?
Well, he wouldn't be calling his dad. His dad would be dead, wouldn't he?
I don't know, would he? I've got an uncle, he's 97.
But you wouldn't call him to say you've been arrested, would you?
No, he's deaf, but I think you're missing the point.
Sorry?
Priscilla?
Could you please not call me that?
What? Priscilla?
Yeah.
Isn't that your name?
Yes, but it's kind of a long story. I think my parents had a weird sense of humour. My friends used to call me Sandy, so that'd be great. I really liked that.
Probationary Constable Smith.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
You know when you see cops on TV speaking in that really dull, plotting, precise kind of way?
Yes. Sir?
There's a reason for that. You need to rely on information with exactitude and without ambiguity. So there can be no misunderstanding in any given description of events. You with me?
I think so.
Good-o. You want to try your question again?
Okay. Could you please call me Sandy because I prefer that over Priscilla?
Sorry?
You wanted me to ask my question again.
Not that question, the one about the shoplifter with the big hair.
I didn't ask about a question about the shoplifter with the big hair, did I?
Weren't you going to ask me a question about something?
No, I was just going to tell you that I'd let him call his dad.
Right, okay.
And to notify you that the gentleman in the adjoining cell was requesting a male officer to take him to the lavatory because he needs to urinate.
Right.
But it's probably too late for that now.
Yeah, really nice. Really good. Let's do one more. I'd like you to kind of split the difference. That was terrific. You did everything I asked. You picked up on all of those little points that we discussed.
What should it be
in the
fun?
first one, well, let's try and see how we go. What you did in the first one obviously elicited quite a nice response from the group, and it was funny. How can we kind of bring that character? You've got the character right now. That's who she is.
Yep.
How do we get that sense of fun back into it?
Mhm.
Have a go.
Yep.
Maybe it just comes through pace. Maybe it becomes a bit more slapstick. But I think that where you're at is a good point.
Okay. Cool.
You comfortable doing that?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure it out in my head. But it's all right. No, I should not figure it out in my head. I'm not going to do that. Cool. No.
Look, I think that she can still and ah, and I think that you can look at him in a confused manner, but rather than it be from a point of a lack of intelligence, do it from a point of intelligence. Look, to give a bit more perspective, these guys actually do get on really well.
Oh,
and
do
to
they?
some degree, and Cam, you can incorporate this in performance, to some degree he is winding her up,
Yeah.
you know, because she's young and he's playing with her. So just see how, as a couple, you can find that. Look, this is a really good example of genre stuff. What do we all know about cop shows? It's not about a bunch of individuals, it's about partnerships like this. I mean, you know, I don't watch an awful lot of them, but I'm sure on NCIS and remembering back to NYPD Blue when you had Dennis Franz and Chris Smith, there's always those types. Hawaii Five-0 that's on at the moment has the very professional cop and then the aloof type of cop. So one responsibility on you guys when you're auditioning for stuff like that is not just creating Priscilla as a character, it's creating Priscilla and Nathan as a relationship. So let's just try and find that in this. Okay, when you're ready.
So the guy down in the cell asked me if he could just give his dad a call.
Which guy?
The shoplifter with the big hair. Who else?
Well, there's another bloke down there. I saw him this morning in the adjoining cell.
But he's about 70 years old.
So?
Well, he's not going to call his dad, is he? His dad's probably dead, isn't he?
I don't know. Would he? I've got a great uncle who's about 79.
79?
No,
You wouldn't call him to say you've been arrested, would you?
no, he's deaf, but I think you're missing the point.
Oh, sorry.
Priscilla.
Oh, please don't call me that.
What? Priscilla?
Yes, Priscilla.
Isn't that your name?
Yeah, but look, my parents had this really weird sense of humour. I don't know what they were thinking, but my friends used to call me Sandy. I really liked that.
Probationary Constable Smith.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
You know when you see cops on TV speaking in that really dull, plodding, precise kind of way?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
There's a reason for that. We need to rely on information with exactitude and without ambiguity, so there can be no misunderstanding in any given description of events. Are you with me?
I think so.
Good-o. You want to try your question again?
Okay. Could you please call me Sandy, because I prefer it over Priscilla?
Sorry?
You wanted me to ask the question again.
Not that question, the one about the shoplifter with the big hair.
I didn't ask a question about the shoplifter with the big hair. Did I?
Weren't you going to ask me something?
No, I was just going to tell you that I let him call his dad.
Right. Okay.
And the elderly prisoner in the adjoining cell is requesting a male officer to accompany him to the toilet because he needs to go urinate.
Right.
It's probably too late. Sorry.
Kind of very flirtatious. I think Nathan and Priscilla are going out. That's good, Kate. Well
Sorry.
done. Thank you.
Cool,
Thanks for
thank
playing.
you. Great, yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. That's great.
In appraisal, look, I think, you know, I really liked